Okay, I think we'll get started. We are expecting a few more people to join. So welcome to the Helix webinar series. Today's session is one of our workshops. So this is smart reporting for Helix Dashboards. Joining me today is Nikhil Deshpande and Abhinay Dubey. They will do their formal introductions when we physically get started. So before we do so, just a reminder that you will remain muted. We will have some time at the end for live Q&A, but we will welcome you to put any questions you may have in the Q&A section of Zoom. And during the session, we will answer those. And then after, we will have about 15 minutes at the end where we'll take it to live Q&A. So the agenda we've got today, which is being shown up, is why BMC Helix Dashboards, and is this the right dashboarding solution for you? Best practices of report migration, product demo, the roadmap piece, and then we will go to the final Q&A. And with that, I'm now going to hand over to Nikhil to get us formally started. So over to you, Nikhil.
Thank you, Sam. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all our webinar or workshop participants. I'm Nikhil Deshpande. I am a product manager for Helix Dashboards, and I'm excited to be back presenting one more session of this workshop. We have been running this migration workshop for more than a year, and it surprises us how much interest there is from our customers and partners to continue to learn about Helix Dashboards and why it's the right solution when you transition off smart reporting to dashboards. When you register for this workshop, you would have been enrolled to two web-based training courses. The first one is a fundamentals using program. It covers everything around the fundamentals of Helix Dashboards. We're not covering the fundamentals on this workshop. I suppose most of you would have attended this WBT already. And the second one is focused on migrating reports from smart reporting to Helix Dashboards. If you haven't done these courses, no worries, you can do it later. But we encourage you to take advantage of both of these courses, which you're getting for free just because you are attending this workshop. Otherwise, these courses, you would have to pay for taking these training programs. Legal notice, since I'm going to be presenting the product roadmap. I'm going to be talking about some product features. If you're planning to make a purchase decision, please do so based on product features that are generally available. BMC does not commit about any product features in our product releases. So let's start with Helix Dashboards. And before we get to dashboards, let's pause and understand what is service ops. If you've been using BMC Helix for a while, you're probably familiar with this term, service ops. What exactly is it? For far too long, there have existed within IT organizations broadly two functional units, service management and operations management. Service management focuses on service desk, incidents, problems, service catalog, service levels, and so on, knowledge management as well. Whereas operations management focuses on maintaining the infrastructure, events, metrics, capacity management, all of those. And the walls between these two units are not conducive for IT organizations to realize their goals. Today, all IT organizations must make their customers competitive. If you are serving internal customers, then you need to enable your business to be competitive in the marketplace. You should allow your business to compete effectively with established enterprises as well as nimble startups. And for that, it's necessary for you to embrace service ops. Service ops is also about embracing the other practices that have been used in organizations for several years. One of these is DevOps, which is, we know that for the past several years, software development has moved out of the four walls of the IT department. Today, many lines of business write their own software and often deploy code to production systems regularly. And it's important for IT organizations to ensure that there's no friction between the processes and governance practices that they put in place and the speed with which DevOps moves because they're not willing to be stopped by policies, procedures, and so on. We also know how much of an impact AI is having on how operations are run, and Service Ops leverages AI in everything we do. We also know that for the past several years, many companies have adopted service management practices in their internal lines of business. Today, anyone who's not in the business of serving external customers is in the business of serving internal customers. And for more than 3 decades, service management practices have established within IT organizations and they're broadly stable. Now, all these lines of businesses, HR, facilities, finance, and so on, they're being held accountable for the practices or the services they offer to their customers. And they want to also adopt the same practices that have enabled IT organizations to serve their customers. And that's why we have line of business service management, which is an integral part of service management. So service ops encompasses all of this: IT service management, line of business service management, IT operations management, leveraging AI across service management and operations, and enabling your business to be even more competitive in the marketplace. And that brings us to Helix Dashboards. What is Helix Dashboards? It's a dashboarding tool that's built on Grafana. The Grafana is known, very well known now in the market as the preferred dashboarding tool for observability reporting. And we have taken advantage of the open source, of Grafana open source. We have leverage these capabilities along with certain features that our customers want in service management as well as operations management. So Helix Dashboards isn't just Grafana with a BMC branding. It's more than that. We have invested significantly in certain areas of Grafana, especially exporting and scheduling dashboards. And these use cases are peculiar to our customers in service management and operations management. So Helix Dashboards is one dashboarding tool that you can use to create visually compelling dashboards across IT service management, line of business service management, AI ops, service monitoring, and so on. BMC has developed an extensive set of out-of-the-box dashboards, and you can take advantage of what we ship so that you can, when you start using dashboards, you already have access to all these out-of-the-box dashboards that we ship with the product. And if these don't meet your needs, which is quite possible because often companies have their own customizations, feel free to customize these and create your own copies of these dashboards, which is what several of our customers do. Helix Dashboards is available with a broad range of BMC Helix solutions. And we'll talk about that, more about that in a moment. So Helix Dashboards is one central reporting and dashboarding framework that you can use across the entire BMC Helix suite of products. Remember, one tenet of service ops is that you should be able to drive outcomes in one domain based on what happens in the other domain. So in IT operations management and service management, this is about situations correlated with incidents or incidents caused by situations. It's about service models across discovery and CMDB and so on. And you need a visualization tool that you can use to bring data across all of these BMC Helix solutions on one dashboard, on one or a set of dashboards. Helix Dashboards is a unique solution that can help you do that. If you've been using smart reporting in the past, which I guess many of you may have used, then you'll know that smart reporting is a point solution for ITSM. It also works for a few other point tools, but it's not a service ops reporting or dashboarding tool. It's a complete misfit in this entire service ops architecture that BMC Helix has designed over the past several years. Smart reporting you may think smart reporting work for you in ITSM, but it is not the right tool for the dashboarding needs of the future. And the future is exciting. We'll talk about that on this workshop. These are all the BMC Helix products or modules with which Helix dashboards work. Certainly, the core products on the service management side, ITSM, CMDB. CMDB isn't exactly a product, but often is called out separately from ITSM. If you use business workflows, then you can use dashboards with that as well. Virtual agent, digital workplace. If you have developed custom applications using Helix Innovation Studio, then you can use Helix dashboards for reporting on those applications as well. And then almost everything on the operations management side, service monitoring with AI ops, continuous optimization, Helix automation console, discovery, log analytics, and so on. Now, let me show you a few out-of-the-box dashboards that we ship with the product. These are some dashboards from the service management world. This is a DW request overview dashboard. Service desk teams need to manage the work intake process, which comes through the service catalog, through DWP catalog, and they need to be aware of how many requests are coming, how they are being fulfilled. And this is exactly what this dashboard provides. You'll see some stat panels at the top that show you just a summary of how many records were submitted, requests raised, fulfilled requests, average age of your open request, and so on. You'll also see some trends of submissions, fulfillment. You'll also see a breakdown of your service catalog or your service requests across different business services, across different applications, and so on. If you're spread across multiple locations, you also see a breakdown by site. So this is a good dashboard for your service desk team to be aware of. One of the tasks of the service desk leadership team is to ensure that the service desk is adequately staffed so that you can meet and exceed the expectations of your customers, as well as meet service level agreements. Ensure that customers are satisfied with the services you provide. This is a good dashboard for your service desk team to use regularly. This is a service dashboard which pulls data across ITSM and AIOps. So you'll see it's got metrics from like health scores, situations, scheduled availability, and so on. You'll see some metrics from service management like open incident age, open incidents, mean time between failures. And you'll also see a timeline or a trend line at the center, a time series, that's more appropriate, which is about correlating health score, events, and incidents all in one panel. And this is the power of service ops. You now have the capability to bring all of this data together so you can correlate what's happening in service management with what's happening in operations. BMC has developed a broad range of visualizations that you can use with Helix dashboards. With Helix dashboards, you do get most of the visualizations that are shipped with Grafana. We also include a number of community visualizations that are available on the Grafana community. In addition to that, we have developed certain visualizations based on the specific needs of BMC Helix customers. And for that reason, we've developed a number of visualizations that we have prefixed with BMC. So all of these visualizations that you see, like BMC table, BMC bar chart, BMC crosstab, all of these were designed for our customers of ITSM and our IT operations management products. Grafana is now proven to be one of the best dashboarding tools in the market, not just for observability reporting, but also for reporting on systems that are based on relational databases, such as our entire Helix Service Management Suite. We also we've also seen that Grafana skills are widely available in the job market. So if you want to hire resources who have Grafana skills, they are available in abundance in the job market. If you have got your own resources, your own staff that has used smart reporting in the past and they want to know dashboards now, that it's very easy for them to get up to speed with Helix dashboards and become productive quickly on developing dashboards. Now let's look at a few dashboards developed by BMC IT. BMC IT uses all of our BMC Helix products to manage our IT infrastructure, our IT operations, our service desk. And they have developed a few dashboards that that we know that our customers will benefit from these. So the first one of these is a CIO dashboard. This is used by the CIO and other senior IT leaders. It gives a complete overview of what's going on in IT. So you'll see a number of stat panels at the top for, for critical events, major events, minor events, outages, and so on. Breakdown of outages based on business services, based on technical services, and several other metrics that are of importance to senior IT leadership. If you use VMware vCenter, then this is a vCenter overview dashboard that gives you a good overview of your VMware estate. So you'll see these stat panels for every cluster, every vCenter cluster that you have, whether it's available, whether there are any alarms on it, and so on. So all metrics that are relevant to VMware vCenter, all of these are available on this dashboard. Gauges are a visualization that can be used to show any metric that's of the nature of a percentage, typically anything that is shown on a scale of 0 to 100. For example, availability. You expect availability of your business services or technical services to be 100% or close to 100%. But what is it exactly? This dashboard gives you an overview of the availability of your different applications across different locations. This one is an incident aging analysis dashboard, a core dashboard for the service desk. Service desk teams need to ensure that in order to maximize customer satisfaction and to keep and to minimize the mean time to resolve incidents, it's important for them to ensure that the work in progress at any time is manageable. If work in progress grows, then it slows down everyone because your limited staff is working on far too many incidents at one time. This dashboard lets your service desk managers to know what's the inventory of your open incidents. And these are bucketed by how many incidents are open for a week, more than a week to 2 weeks, 2 weeks to 4 weeks, older than a month, and so on. Then you see a breakdown of these open incidents based on the assigned group or the support team, based on business services. You also see a cross tab across the priority and the age of incidents. So this is a good dashboard for service desk managers to manage their day-to-day operations. With that, I'm now going to hand off to Abhinay, and Abhinay is going to walk us through the best practices of migrating reports from smart reporting to Helix dashboards. Over to you, Abhinay.
Thanks, Nikhil. Hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
And is my slide
Yes, your slide is visible too. Go ahead.
all right? Perfect. Thank you. I'll put it on slideshow mode. And here we go. Hello, everyone. I'm Abhinay. I'm a senior practice manager with professional services at BMC. And today we'll talk about some of the best practices when you're moving from smart reporting to Helix dashboard, how you can start planning, what are the key things that you need to bear in mind, and learnings from the field. So what we have seen uh, with other customers and the learnings that we have from their experience. So we'll go through a framework. We'll talk about a framework which talks about which uses BMC's uh, professional services best practices for migration. These kind of migration projects. We'll talk about how you can analyze the usage of your current platform, and then we'll talk about a sample migration strategy which you can modify to suit your organization, and finally learnings from the field and few resources that can help you. All right, so here's a five-phase framework that you can use to get started with this journey, this planning from moving from smart reporting to Helix dashboard. I say smart reporting, but you can use this framework for any kind of migration for if even if you are migrating from any other reporting tool to Helix dashboard, this is equally valid. Um, Few toolings that we provide are specific to smart reporting, but otherwise everything remains the same. Now, this starts with the first phase is prepare, which is where we are right now. Most of you who are attending this session. So this is where we want to understand what the two platforms are, how similar or different they are, and uh, get some background on the tool, general awareness. So sessions like this one you're currently attending, the pre-rec training that you might have attended before joining this webinar. So all of these are essentially part of a prepare phase. So once you have enough background knowledge, information, we can now move to planning phase. And this is where we want to get into more detail how specifically you are using smart reporting, how your organization is using. So what is the what kind of features you're using, what is the extent of usage, so all those metrics. And like I said, we'll talk a little more detail about this assessment, how we can do it. Next is once you know how the what kind of usage is there on smart reporting side, then you can start working on a plan based on the priorities. So what are your top priority reports and so on, and then plan for each of the reports what you want to do, recreate or um, migrate as is, and we'll talk a little more detailed about that aspect as well. Next two phases, migrate and validate, they go hand in hand. So you migrate some reports, then your consumers of the report, the end users, they'll need to validate whether the reports are up to their do they make sense to them? Is it are they happy with the report, or do they want to change anything in there? So the feedback loop goes back to the migrating team. And once everything is all good, the end users are happy with the reports, we can go um, live with those. So that's the transition phase. So you go live, and if you have external team working with you on the migration, like BMC's professional service or a partner, then that would also include a knowledge transfer, how we did the migration, what were the few key learnings or workarounds that we might have used, and so on and so forth, so that you can do it later if you have to, right? So let's get more deeper into the assessment. So this is where our planning phase starts. Now, uh, there are many features on which we can compare smart reporting and Helix dashboard. But I've listed only the top key features which have the biggest impact on the migration. So we want to talk about reports, we want to talk about dashboards, broadcasts, and report links. Now, first thing you would observe is on smart reporting world, you had many different type of reports. So you had reports with one visualization, multiple visualization, co-display reports, dashboards. But if you look at Helix dashboard, everything is a dashboard. Everything is called a dashboard. It can have one or more panels on it. And depending on what type of report you are looking at, it will map to a dashboard which has one or more panels, and the panels could be a visualization or a tabular data panel. Now you will also notice some of these are supported by migration tool and some of them are not. And that essentially comes down to the fact that the two platforms are completely different technology. The smart reporting, which was based on Yellowfin, versus Helix Dashboard, which is based on Grafana. They are different technology. They are focused on different type of use cases. So certain things uh, may not have the exact parallel on the other side and may not be possible to automate the migration. The same thing applies to the visualization mapping. So the two platforms are focusing on different use cases. You heard Nikhil talk about um, the smart reporting. While it was a good tool for ITSM, Helix dashboard is much more. We focused on service ops use cases. So the use cases are different, and that reflects in the visualizations as well. So you would see where most of the visualization have something very similar on the Helix dashboard side as well, but there will be few visualization which will not have anything um, corresponding on the Helix dashboard world. So the point here is when you are doing the assessment, it's key to understand what visualizations you are using and how many of them, because then you can that will give you an idea about the time and effort that will be needed. These visualizations, you'll have to revisit the report and see what's the right visualization on Helix dashboard side, which represents this data uh, in the right manner that makes most sense to the consumer of the report. All right. Now let's talk about the assessment. Now we understand what are the key features that will affect our migration timelines, effort. Now let's talk about how we can assess those factors. So what we want to assess is total number of reports, what's the total volume, and second is the type of report that we are talking about, what kind of visualization they're using, co-display reports or standalone reports, and so on. The next is complexity of report, which is again linked to the point number two. So if you have uh, a co-display report, the complexity depends on how many child reports you have, or other factors are calculated fields, advanced DB function usage, and so on. Next is the frequency of that report usage. So uh, essentially, this is going to tell you uh, how important the report is for your end users, because some reports are used on day-to-day basis, whereas some reports may not have been used in last 6 months or a year. So again, this will help you prioritize as well as filter out some of the unused reports. We'll also need to understand if the report is part of any dashboard, so smart reporting dashboards. Broadcasts are set up on that one, and the relationships with the other reports. How you do this assessment is through SQL queries, and it's all documented, provided on BMC Docs. And each of these queries will give you a very specific aspect of this usage. And there are a lot of queries listed, and you can find out a lot more than what I have listed on this slide. So that these factors, but for now we are just focused on these for planning the migration at a broader level. Let's take a look at one of the sample reports. Um, so one of the sample assessment reports. Uh, now, uh, if you look at the report, these are all the factors that we talked about in the previous slide. So for every report, we are looking at the hit count, the frequency of that report being run. And for this particular assessment, we looked at 90-day period. So 90-day in the past till today. Now, every organization would have a different cutoff date, and some would want to look back 120 days or 60 days, 90 days. So it's up to your organization how far back you want to take a look to know what reports are really in use. So if a report is not being in used, not really used in last 90 days or 6 months, then that's a good indication that report may not be needed. So that's a starting point. Then you can obviously dig deeper. It will also help you prioritize. So if the report has a very high hit count, then that's a top priority report that's being used day-to-day basis. Next is public or private. So we'll talk a little more about this later, why this is important. So we can find this information. Next is visualization type. So whether it's tabular data or a bar chart and so on. So now, like I said earlier, so we want to understand what visualizations we are using, if any of them do not have something corresponding on Helix dashboard side. So we'll need to redo the visualization. So that's what we get to know here. The next four columns, which are different counts, are going to give you an indication of the complexity of report. So how many calculated fields are there? How many database functions are you using? Drill down, drill through reports, co-display reports. So how many child reports are there? And finally, we also need to understand if it's part of any dashboard and how many broadcasts are set up on that particular report. Okay, so now once we have done this uh, analysis, this assessment, we are ready to get into the actual migration. But before we start the actual migration, here are a few guidelines that I would like to share with you. Now, there are two main paths when you're doing migration. So either you are going to recreate a report or you would be converting the report as is from smart reporting to dashboard. So let's talk about when is one of the two paths might be more useful, and then what tools you could use for doing that kind of migration. So first is the recreation. Recreation, the couple of reasons why you would want to recreate a particular report. Number one, your visualization is not supported. I mean, it's not available as is on the Helix dashboard. So you would want to recreate that report, reimagine it. The uh, second reason, which is even more important, is you're redesigning the report to tap into some of the new features. Maybe you would want to um, uh, get some more details from ITOM world and ITSM world in the same dashboard. So redesigning the report. So these are two common reasons. Now, depending on the complexity of report, we can go with one tool or the other. In general, the recommendation is to go with Visual Query Builder, and we'll see a demo of it later in the session. Visual Query Builder allows you to drag and drop, create reports using a drag and drop approach. So that's the recommended approach, especially if it's a simple report, go with VQB. If it's a complex report, then it has to be the decision has to be taken on case-by-case basis. If it's very complex SQL, then maybe it's easier to simply move the SQL over. uh, from smart reporting over to Helix dashboard. Now, the other path is converting as is. So common reasons for doing so are crunch for time. So you have a lot of reports and you are hard pressed against a tight deadline. So you may want to make some of the reports as is, or you think the source report is good as it is. You don't need any changes that we talked about for the recreate use case. So in these two cases, again, depending on the complexity of report, we can um, we can pick one approach or the other. So if it's a simple report and you're converting as is, still we'll recommend Visual Query Builder. Uh, but if there are very high number of reports and you want to move as fast as you want, then migration tool can be used, and that essentially moves the SQL query from uh, the smart reporting over to Helix dashboard, making appropriate changes for the platform. Now, if it's a complex report, then probably the best bet is you use the migration tool or manually to move the SQL over. So here, these are the few points that we'll need to bear in mind when we are planning. Okay, now let's put all of it together and look at a sample migration strategy. So we talked about the prepare phase. We talked about the assessment and the planning. So at the end of your planning phase, you'll have a migration plan where for each of the reports, you know whether you want to convert or you want to recreate or you want to reuse. So I did not talk about reuse earlier. So reuse is essentially when you want to substitute the report from by an out-of-box report. And you've seen all those wonderful out-of-box reports that are available in Helix dashboard. So maybe one of these can be used. Now, also a key point in planning phase is to define the scope for a pilot phase and break down the all the number of volume of reports in multiple phases. Now, I know it's very tempting that you would want to run migration tool on all of them, but there are a few practical constraints in terms of how you can validate and so on. So it's highly recommended that you have a focused pilot phase where you are looking at a much smaller report, set of reports that you can do this in-depth analysis for. So once we are done with this planning, we move into migrate and validate, which like I mentioned earlier, works in an iterative fashion until your end users are happy with the report. We continue updating the reports. So using the tool, using Visual Query Builder, using manual SQL movement. So we are converting all the reports, and once everything is all good, we are ready to go live. And this will end the pilot phase, and you can pick the next set of priority reports, move on with the next phase. All right, let's talk about a few learnings from the field. So there are few common uh, themes that we have seen across the board, across all the customers. So uh, number one of number one is sport report sprawl. So most organizations don't have a governance structure around report creation. So what ends up happening is everybody is creating their own reports, and a lot of these reports are not being used. They're just lying in there. It could be a one-time report was created, or sometimes somebody just made a copy of report they wanted to modify, but then they didn't. So essentially, there are a lot of reports that are just lying in there, and the number of these unused reports varies from one organization to other. But we have seen this number vary from anything upwards of 50%. So half of the reports are not being used is very common, and then it goes as I've seen it go as high as 80%. So 80% are not in use and only 20% are really in use. So it depends on organization, but this is one most important aspect when you're doing this assessment of your smart reporting usage, to bear in mind that there are a lot of unused reports, because number of reports, the volume of report will have the biggest bearing impact on your timelines of the migration. Number two is redundant reports. So this essentially goes back to the point reuse in the previous slide with a sample migration strategy. There are a lot of good out-of-box reports, and our product team is adding new dashboards with every release. So it's a good place to start. Take a look if there is something that's already out there, uh, which is which is giving you the information exactly what your custom report was doing in smart reporting. If so, you don't need to migrate. And there are dashboards available on PMC dashboard community. So again, take a look if something is already there instead of creating something from scratch or migrating. Uh, the other place to take a look is the new consoles that are available within the product. So shared ticket console and the asset console. The screenshots of these are also you can see on the right side of the slide. Now, if you have a report with tabular data, which is simply listing this information in a tabular format, ticket information, asset information, then probably it's worth to take a look at these consoles, and instead of having a separate report, you can just use these consoles. They allow you to save presets, export this data. So uh, good place to take a look. The last one is bite-size phase planning. So I talked a little bit about this in the previous slide. So it's very tempting. You want to do it, do a big bang approach, run it across all the reports that you have, run the migration tool on all the reports you have. But then the key, the main bottleneck is the validation still has to go through end users, and they can validate only so many in a given amount of time. And another important factor is by doing a big bang approach, you are missing on the analysis. So you won't be able to take a look at the reports and then see if many of them reports can be done in a different way, and Helix dashboard performance can be optimized, new features can be leveraged, and so on. So bite-sized phases is what I'll recommend. Small sprint size or sprint duration or iterations, whatever term is used in your organization, is always recommended. Now let's take a look at three of the customers. All three of them very different, and the approach to migration was also very different. So your organization might be similar to one of them or might be completely different. The point is, it has to um, be customized based on the organization needs. Now, the first one that you see was a large government department, and they had really complex reports. And once we did the analysis, the assessment, we thought that it's the best way for this migration is to recreate the reports and dashboard, and at the same time improve the performance as well. So it was a multi-phased engagement where everything was workshop led. We worked very closely with customer in understanding what they have and how it can be reimagined. So they had overall more than 5,000 reports, but then the priority reports, top priority reports, which we helped them redo, was 95. So again, the importance of prioritizing your reports. Some of the top priority reports need to be taken in the pilot phases. And their approach was highly agile. So 10-day sprints, a few reports would be picked up for the conversion. depending on complexity, how many we can convert, and so on. The next one is a retail giant, and they are a classic example of report sprawl. So they had over 11,000 reports, and right after the first assessment, they thought almost half of them are not even being used. So um, the number of reports which were migrating was 1,000, but again, validation from their end users was only 381. So again, highlights that importance of assessment. The last one that you see is a large e-commerce player, and they had a dashboard first approach instead of going report first. So they prioritized dashboards, and then all the reports that were linked to those dashboards were migrated in the pilot phase. So they started with two dashboards, 57 reports, and it was a weekly sprint, so weekly iterations and mini go lives after every sprint. Let's take a look at few resources that will help you in this journey. First up is documentation. So whatever we talked about, it's all in the docs. That would be your first stop for any information. There are a few other resources, and the slides will be shared so you can take a look at all these links. Education courses, so you would have taken a couple of them before attending this, but there are many more available, and there's a whole learning path which takes you from a beginner overview kind of a course all the way to a certified administrator. So depending on your role, you can pick the right one. Next is communities. So you can use communities for a lot of things. You can ask questions. Other users, PMC staff will be replying to those, sharing knowledge with each other. You can use it for raising ideas, so product enhancement ideas, and others can vote on. And finally, there is a lot of community contributed content out there, so some of the dashboards might be useful to you. Finally, if you need help from BMC to get things started, you can engage BMC professional services. So there are a couple of offerings from services which can help you get this journey started. The left one is more specific for this kind of a migration. So it starts with an architect taking you through a few workshops, helping you plan this journey, and then an expert helping you convert some of those top priority reports, followed by a knowledge transfer. Right, that's all I had. Back to you, Nikhil.
Yeah, thanks, Abhinay. I'm going to share my screen again. Okay, I'm now going to okay, Leo, I see you have raised your hand. Please allow us to complete this, the prepared content, and towards the end, we'll allow you to ask questions. You can also type your question in the Q&A window, and we'll get to your questions as soon as we can. Okay, now I'm going to play a recorded demo of Visual Query Builder. This is a visual tool, visual drag and drop tool to develop reports for anyone who knows what they're looking for, but are not familiar with ITSM forms, or they're not intimately familiar with writing SQL. So up until now, there were two ways of writing queries. You either pick the form and the fields, or you write a SQL. If you don't prefer any of these, then the third method is Visual Query Builder. It's been in the product for more than a year now. We'll show you a demo because this is a powerful tool that can democratize report building and possibly expand report development to a broader audience at your company. So this is a recorded demo that I'm going to play, but if you have questions, please post in the Q&A window.
Hello everyone. I'm going to show you all Visual Query Builder and Reporting Metadata Studio, how it helps to create dashboard very quickly. And as a smart reporting user, Visual Query Builder gives you a similar experience of creating dashboard. So let's see how we can use Visual Query Builder to create dashboards. Okay, so this is our Helix portal, first landing page on the Helix portfolio. I'm just opening Helix dashboard from here. Okay, so this is just my home screen. I'm just closing this doc window. Okay, so I'll just use this first plus button to create new dashboard. I'm creating a new dashboard. I'm just clicking on add new visualization. For getting data from different application, different BMC Helix application, we have okay, so for service management, again, there are three types. Either you can use this form to create, or you can use SQL or Visual Query Builder, these two options. So SQL is freehand SQL, and Visual Query Builder, the one that I was talking about, which gives you a similar experience like a smart reporting to create dashboard. Okay, so I'm just clicking on this Visual Query Builder. It opens this entire screen, and if you see here, the view is selected, and first view is incident management. So if you see, there are many views provided by BMC as out of box, like this change management, problem management, work order, and so on. So for now, for this demo, I'm just going to use visual incident management as a view. This view, when I say view, it's a combination of multiple forms in the AR, and also the join, and also the fields from that particular form or the column from that particular table. Okay, so if you see here, there are categories, like we call this as the fields. Okay, so incident management, and these are all incident related. Then we have some which are like only the date type. So if you notice, the icon represent that this is a date and time type of field. If you see here, these are the submitters, so it's a string, okay, a string text type of. Then priority is again enum field. Okay? And similarly, we have some which is like total transfer or group transfer. These are the number field. So that way we have the different icons for different type of field. So let's say if I want to generate a report, let's say a simple report, show me the incident number and its priority. I can simply just drag these two fields. I can click on preview. It will show me, okay, the first 100 rows just for preview, what query I have selected. And if I want to see, okay, what query it is getting generated at the backend, I can simply click on this SQL and it will show. So if I just click on use query, my panel is ready. I can click on apply and I can save this dashboard. That way my simple panel is ready. I don't need to write a SQL here. I can simply use this drag and drop functionality to create a report. So if I want to do some aggregation, let's say, right, I want priority wise number of incident, let's say, then I can use these aggregate functions. So depending on the field type, there are some aggregate functions associated. So if I click on this now, this will show me the count of incident number based on the priority. This is aggregation function on top of some field, right? We just need to use this 3 dot and use these functions. If we don't want to use field and then aggregation, there are some predefined calculated field which are like similar to this. Let's say count of incident will give you, if I want to have count of incident, I can simply use the number of incident field calculated directly as well. Okay. So I'll just remove this and click on preview and use query. So now this is showing me data for all priority. Let's say I want to filter this data based on the priority. So I can simply add this priority in the category, in the filter, and I can use these values. So as this is enum, we pre-populate the values for it. So I can simply say critical, I'll say preview. It will just show me the data only for critical. When I click on apply, this panel will show data only for critical priority. This visual query builder is like mostly used for creating a query and getting data into the Helix dashboard. Rest all functionality like visualization, all schedule, everything will be same. So there is no change in user experience for that. It is same for all. Now, let's say I have created this panel, but there are use cases where we need a variable or a filter, right? So we can use Visual Query Builder as a filter as well. So let's say I want to create a filter for priority and simply say enable query editor, and this will open. This will show me the UI for Visual Query Builder. And here I want to create a filter for priority. So I'll just drag and drop this priority field here, the selection, and I'll click on preview. So these many well. Here I cannot drag multiple things because for variable it requires only one column. So only one field I can drag and drop. We can have some functions to it. We can add filters even in the variable that we can do, but only one field in the variable. So I just click on use query and my panel is ready. Okay. If I click on apply, if I go back to dashboard, this will show critical, high, low, medium as a filter, and I can use that here as well. So how to use that? Earlier, with the SQL mode, we have to add that variable reference in the query. Now with the Visual Query Builder, we can simply use this button. Instead of default values, I will use template as priority. I'll just remove this. I will just click on preview. And now this will show data for critical because first selection is critical. If I switch to high, this will show data for high. If I switch to low, it will show data for low. So this way we can link variable in the VQB as well. Okay. So yeah, these are the Visual Query Builder options flow. If I also want to show you a few more things, like there are multiple out-of-box dashboard similar to incident management. Also, This list will show some custom dashboard as well. Let's say if you have any customization done on the AR side and that is not covered in these out-of-box dashboard, out-of-box views, then we have to modify these views, add our customization, and again publish that view to Helix Dashboard so that report editors can use this view. For that customization, what we have another application which is reporting metadata studio. Okay. So to get that studio, what you can do, you can just simply go to administration, then general, then you will see a tile for reporting metadata studio. Okay. From here, you can use this download button. It will download one zip file, which is a Windows application, Windows standalone application that you need to execute or run on any Windows server where you have the Kazing setup with AR database. Okay, because this tool will need a connectivity between Helix Dashboard plus AR database. Okay. For that, we can configure Kazing and some of the details which are required, you can get it from here. Right, this AR host and port, these are some dummy values because these are the Kazing gateway host and port. Okay. You can simply use this copy to clipboard button to copy these values. Okay, so now if we talk about reporting metadata studio, so I have just downloaded this zip file from Helix Dashboard and I extracted that. It shows me this particular folder, reporting metadata editor. Here we have this VMC, everyone. So I'm going to show you a Visual Query Builder.
Apologize, it got reset in between. I'll just go back to where we left off.
You can simply use this copy to clipboard button to copy these values. Okay, so now if we talk about reporting metadata studio, so I have just downloaded this zip file from Helix Dashboard and I extracted that. It shows me this particular folder, reporting metadata editor. Here we have this VMC auth configuration, and in this we have to just do a configuration for my ADE information. Okay. So what is my ADE tenant? That information I can quickly get from here, from the portal. This is my tenant URL, this is my tenant ID, this is my tenant URL. Again, AR host and port, this is the Kazing configuration. So if I just show you, this is my Kazing configuration file where I've configured this host with this IP address and with this port. So that way I have configured this, and those details I have mentioned here. REST endpoint, this is a platform URL which you can get it from Helix Dashboard. Like go to connection, open this particular VMC Helix data source, and inside this there is a platform URL. From here you can get this information. Environment alias, you can give any. For now I'm using this for demo, so that's why I'm given alias as a demo. We can have QA, prod, or dev, any name we can give. This is just an alias. Okay, so this is the environment file. Then we have profile file as well, where we need to mention key and secret of the user who is the reporting admin. Okay, so I'm using this user you are user 2, and he is the administrator. Rather, instead of reporting administrator, he is a tenant administrator. And for him, how to get the user access key and secret? So on the Helix portal, if I go to my profile, then I have this option, right, to get my access key. From here, I can simply click on add key, and I can give some name, and I'll generate my access key for this account. This key has two parts. One is the access key, and another one is a secret that we can mention, that we can copy and paste in this file and save this. So with this, all my reporting metadata studio configuration is done. I am ready to open reporting metadata studio. So what I will do, I'll just open this reporting metadata studio in the edit mode. I'll just open this batch file. Okay. Reporting metadata studio requires JDK, OpenJDK 17 and above. I have just configured 17 here on this server. This will like do authentication with the respect of your access key and secret, and opens up this UI. So whenever you open first time, you'll see like this blank screen. There is no connection, nothing. This is our first landing screen for reporting metadata studio. Here we have some option. This is a Windows normal application, which we can use to modify. So before we modify, we can get these out-of-box views plus the custom views from Helix Dashboard. So if you see, these are all out-of-box dashboard provided. These are all custom dashboards which I have created on this set. Okay. To start with any customization, we have three options. Either you can take any out-of-box dashboard, do the modification, save it with some different name, and publish to the Helix dashboard, and your view will be ready. Or else you can create from scratch. Just click on this new and start creating your view. Or third option is we can use this sample metadata view as a baseline where we have only two table and few columns from that table and one chart. So that we can take it as a reference and extend that according to your need. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take again incident management, same way, just clicking on OK to import. It asked me to save this model with some name. So I'll give 1009, INC 1009. Click on OK. Now what this reporting metadata studio will do, it will actually download this view from Helix Dashboard. As being this Helix Dashboard as a SaaS application, all the views are stored at the SaaS or the S3 level. Okay, so it will download that file, load that file into this reporting metadata studio, and we are ready to modify this particular view. So if you see, this is our out-of-box dashboard, which consists of HPD help desk, association, base element, task, impact areas, work log. These many tables are already added, table or form included in these views. This line shows the relationship between these two columns. This is like hierarchy of the relationship. This is A and this is B. And if you mouse over, you can see the relationship between all these tables or forms. Before we start, I just need to create a connection to the database. So I'm just opening this connection, database connection. This is a generic database connection to the AR server. Okay, it uses this URL which we pre-populate depending on the configuration in that environment file. Only thing is user need to provide username and password. So I'm going to use same user, right? And I'm just clicking on this test button to verify if my connection is ready. Okay, so my connection is on. Clicking on OK. And now I can use this button to import the data. So here, import table. Now what I need to add one column, one new table in this view, and one column from that table. So for that, I'm just using this import table. This will show me all the tables from the AR. This list also includes all the customization done into the AR system. So just for demo, I am going to use HPD statistics as a column which is not there in this view. I'm just selecting that, clicking on OK. Now, if you see, my table is added here as a physical table. Okay, these are all physical tables. Now, in this business model, we have to add this new table as a business table. So I'm just clicking on add new business table. I'm selecting this, and now this HPD help desk, HPD statistics, which was physical table, now it added as a business table. Now I need to add relationship between these two. So I can click on new relationship. I'll say HPD help desk of incident number. Let's say incident number. Just get that. Incident number and HPD help desk statistics and its instance counter. With this, I'm going to join because I know this schema. So I'm going to join these two table with the inner join. So I'm selecting inner join and I'm clicking on OK. So if you see, this line is generated and it shows the relationship between these two tables. I'm just simply saving this just to preserve my work. Now, after you save this, now what next? I want few columns which I want to use it as a field from this statistic table. So what I will do, I'll just add new category. Okay, when I say category, it is the folder which we have seen on the Visual Query Builder. I'll say stats, and new folder is created. I'm just going to add few fields. Let's say status in this particular stat folder. I'll say user. I want user. Want company. I think that's all for now, just for a demo. And I'm clicking OK. So if you see, these three fields got added. And if you notice, like these are all the fields which we see on the Visual Query Builder in the same order. So I'm just clicking on save again. to save. Now my changes, whatever the changes that I wanted to do as a customization in out-of-box dashboard, that is done. I just want to verify my changes and verify my join. So here we have this query builder. We can use this query builder just to verify the changes. Okay. So I'm just selecting, okay, incident number I want, which is from HPD help desk, and I want these three fields which I have added, which are from HPD statistics that I have added. I can simply click on this equal and see, okay, how is the join created. So if you see the join is correct, also the columns are there. And I can click on this run button. So, okay, so it will show me some data as well, first 5,000 rows for the preview purpose. Okay. So now I'm happy with all my changes that I wanted to do in the view. I'm saving this one more time just to not miss anything. And next step is, as this studio is on my Windows machine, I want to make this view available for all the reporting user, right? Report editor. So what I have again published to Helix dashboard option. And here I can see demo. And this is the alias which I have given in this file, right? The alias. So here we have this option as well, configure tenant environment. Let's say there is a use case. You are creating this view on the dev environment. You test everything on the dev environment, but you don't want to create a view again on the QA or on the prod. You just want to publish this to QA or prod, right? So in that case, you can configure another tenant environment by using this option, and then give some different areas and select that name to publish your view. Right now, I have only one, so I'm just selecting this demo. It is asking me for some name, so I'll give the same name, INC 1009, today's date. I'll simply say, okay. Now, what it will do, this reporting metadata studio will again generate an XML file, check the authentication, like the reporting metadata studio authentication, upload this file to report to Helix Dashboard. So this is now upload is done, shows this is available. So if I go back again to Helix Dashboard, and if I try to create a new dashboard using VQB, okay. So let's say I am a viewer or report editor here. Now if I want to use the views which is created by Adam, so I'll just say INC 1009. Okay. So this view is available for, and I can see, okay, stat for the results. So I can see here. I'll again create same report on the VQB as well. Let's say incident number, status, user, and customer. And I click on preview. This will show me again a similar result. So this way we can do customization in the reporting, in the out-of-box views, or we can have the different views depending on all our customization done in the AR database. So yeah, that's what I.
All right. That was our a demo of Visual Query Builder, and now we are moving to the last section of this workshop, which is the product roadmap. So let's see what's the road ahead for Helix Dashboards. And before getting into dashboards, I need to spend a few moments to just emphasize how AI is changing the way we work. Our interaction with business software is undergoing a fundamental change because of the advent of AI. Uh, All of us, or probably most of us, use AI in our personal lives, ChatGPT, Google Gemini, or whatever. And that influences our expectations in how business or enterprise applications should offer. And we see a fundamental shift in how users in the past work versus how they will work in the new way with and how it will completely transform the way we work. So requesters, if you work with a service catalog in the past, you would have to log into a request portal or email, send an email to the service desk, or possibly walk to the service desk. The new way is you will use a communication channel such as Microsoft Teams or Slack, with which you will interact with the service desk. And that becomes a single way, just one interface for all your interactions. The old way was for service desk personnel to manage service catalog requests or service requests across several forms or browser tabs. Now, the new way is to deploy a fleet of agents or assistants that specialize in certain activities, and they do it consistently right every time, and they do it with speed. The old way was to wait for a data analyst to become available for them to develop your reports. The new way is to rely on an AI agent that is capable of developing your reports and one that has access to a much wider repository of your enterprise data. So this is AI is now spreading and has already spread across so many areas. We are cognizant of the impact that AI can have on further growing our service ops vision. And we have come up with a number of actions that we have started to embed in BMC Helix products that make it easier for you to interact with the service desk or with your tools. So you'll be able to converse with the agents or with a virtual agent, summarize based on data. You'll see this not just in dashboards, but across ITSM and other applications as well. Recommend the best actions. What should you do next when a certain situation occurs? Automation is going to take place at a very high scale. And creation also, the task of creating documents, knowledge articles, reports will also be automated by Helix GPT. BMC Helix has developed or is developing a wide range of agents across the entire service ops spectrum, everything from employee navigator to help you interact with the service desk, the service catalog, CMDB governor to enable you to view your CMDB data and in the future also make corrections to ensure that your data is of high quality. There's Insight Finder, which we'll talk about a little more. And likewise, there are agents that we are developing across all of our BMC Helix products. You'll be able to connect not just to your BMC Helix data source, but also to your external database to bring data across multiple databases, ticketing systems, knowledge repositories, and other enterprise data. All of this will be doing by taking advantage of the latest AI technologies, such as Azure OpenAI, Google Gemini, and so on. So specifically, what does it mean for Helix dashboards? Our main item for dashboards is Helix GPT Insight Finder. This is an AI agent that specializes in developing dashboards based on a conversational interface. User, a data analyst, will specify their analytics requirement as a natural language prompt, and the response will be a dashboard panel. And this is just the beginning. They'll also be able to analyze the data. So Insight Finder not just develops the dashboard for you, it also helps you analyze the data, find outliers. It will be able to summarize the report for you, it will help you analyze the data, provide you with interactive data insights that you can do so that you can use Insight Finder as an assistant to not just develop the dashboard, but more importantly, to analyze data. Other things apart from Insight Finder, since we use Grafana open source, we continually look for opportunities to upgrade to the latest version of Grafana. We upgraded to Grafana 10.4 sometime last year. And in our most recent release, 25.2, we have upgraded to Grafana 11.2. Visual Query Builder, this is the drag and drop tool that you just saw a demo about. So I'll skip this slide. You're already aware of this. Visual Query Builder relies on a semantic layer for you to be able to drag and drop fields. So we saw one for incident management. Likewise, we have developed views for almost all of the areas within ITSM. So you'll see across incident, problem change, digital workplace, asset management, CMDB, and so on. In our most recent release, we also released release management. Foundation data is an item on our roadmap, and we'll get to that sometime in the future. Reporting Metadata Studio was also covered in our demo. This is a developer tool that you can use to extend the capabilities of Visual Query Builder to your custom forms, custom fields, or to, in general, if you want to expand the schema of the semantic layer to something that's already available out of the box, but is not shipped along with that view, feel free to extend it to your needs. We also have the ability to add global constraints. So global constraint is a very powerful feature in that it allows your admins or your admins to set up conditions that must be applied every time a user generates a report on that view. For example, if you want to enforce that every report must include a condition on company equals and a specific company name. Rather than rely on every report developer to do that, you can add a global constraint that adds that condition so that every time a user develops a report on that view, that condition on company will always be applied consistently every time. Some low-level improvements have also been made to Visual Query Builder. We have started supporting a wide range of operators, a wide range of date and string functions, typically the flexibility that you have with SQL today. We are trying to get as close to SQL as possible so that you're able to analyze your data. Oftentimes, these functions are necessary to manage bad quality data. Sometimes you may feel if you expect values like yes and no, in reality, you find some records have yes all capitalized, some have yes with just the initial letter capitalized, and so on. So you can use things like convert everything to uppercase, convert everything to lowercase. If your data has leading or trailing spaces, in SQL, you would use a function like ltrim or rtrim. Now you can do that with Visual Query Builder as well. You can also manipulate dates and times. So if you want to report on just a particular day of the week, a particular hour, and so on, all of that is possible now. Semantic So one of the things that we are now doing is enriching the semantic layer, because this is required for Helix GPT Insight Finder, enriching the semantic layer with useful meanings of every field, so that Insight Finder knows where to find that which field to look for when a user specifies the natural language prompt. Role-based access control was delivered last year. It gives your admins granular control over how they want to administer access. Out of the box, we ship 3 roles: administrator, editor, and viewer. But if you find these 3 roles too restrictive, then you can create your own custom roles. And for each custom role, you can grant them granular permission. So what you see in the screenshot, create your custom role and you can grant them permission to just create dashboards or create and view. Or you may want to give only specific roles the permission to create data sources or create calculated fields and so on. So now your admins have complete control over who does what in Helix dashboards. Several other improvements have been done to make it easier for your report developers to develop reports. So for example, things like handling word wrap or gracefully handling a carriage return, retaining or resizing the panel dynamically based on the content. All of these things have been done in the past few releases. A BMC table plugin, we find that most reports tend to be just listings or tabular listings, and that's why this plugin becomes important. So in the past few releases, we have handled several things in the BMC table plugin, like the ability to hide columns or retain carriage returns, handle word wraps. We have added aggregate functions in the footer. You can now you can have functions like mean, median, minimum, maximum, all of these. You can generate barcodes. A very powerful feature for asset management is to be able to generate barcodes from the field, such as an asset serial number. You can include the serial number in one column, and in the next column, you can generate the barcode. You can then print those barcodes, and if you print on a sticker, then you can then stick those barcode stickers to those assets. It makes for a complete asset management solution to be able to generate barcodes and stick them to those assets. We have several roadmap items for BMC table, the ability to concatenate 2 columns or split 1 column into 2, the ability to do inline filtering on columns. You can, of course, add conditions in your query, but after you see the results on the screen, users will be able to do an inline filtering right there. So several usability improvements are also planned in the future. The calendar plugin is being upgraded. In fact, it was just upgraded in 25.2. Earlier, you could only view data for a day or a week or a month. Now you can view data for an entire year. So if you want to have an event or a calendar of your events or change requests, releases, whatever, you can generate a dashboard using the calendar plugin. We already ship one dashboard called Change Calendar that makes use of this plugin. PDF export enhancements, because tabular reports happen to be popular, just as popular are the ability to export reports to the PDF format. Oftentimes in many companies, we see that senior leaders prefer to consume their reports or dashboards as PDF exports or Excel exports. We have done several improvements to PDF in the past year to make it much more easier for anyone to consume information from our dashboards. Scheduling is another improvement, another area where we have done a lot of improvements and will continue to do in the future as well. Previously, we just provided you one FTP connection. You can now configure multiple FTP connections. If you have a use case where users belonging to different functions have different FTP folders, then for security reasons, you may not want to share all reports just on one FTP. You can now have multiple FTP connections. You can also, we also have started disabling inactive user schedules. So if a user has scheduled reports and then they leave the company, you don't want schedules running with that user, because the risk with that is the user gets the report is run based on the access that user has to all the data, which is not a good thing. So we now disable user schedules, and in the future, you'll be able to reassign these inactive schedules to one of your active users. Conditional scheduling has been implemented in such a way that a dashboard schedule is executed only if it has data. So you will not have a situation where someone receives a scheduled report and the report is blank. We also have started allowing blind copying in schedule, so that every recipient, certain recipients, you may not want everyone to know that a certain recipient is also receiving that report. So you can include them in BCC so that they get hidden. Some roadmap items for scheduling. The most important one is dynamic recipient scheduling. Currently, you must have a static list of your scheduled recipients. This is about dynamic recipient scheduling is about setting rules as to who are the list of recipients. And this list of recipients will not be a static list. It will be dynamic. It could be the result of another dashboard or one of the existing panels in the current dashboard. We also plan to expand the scope of conditional scheduling to schedule a dashboard subject to the fulfillment of certain conditions. So it's like writing a query, and depending on the query result, you decide whether to execute that schedule or not. The ability to allow sending dashboards to all members of a team. Today, you have to specify the identity of every user to recipient to send a schedule. But we have a concept of teams. So you will be able to use to schedule reports to teams in the future. We're also looking at the possibility for admins to be able to execute failed schedules in bulk. Another recent feature was HTML formatted reports. So you can certainly send your schedules as attachments, but an alternative way is the report is embedded in the body of the email. Audit trail is a feature in 25.2. This will allow your admins access to who did what in dashboards. Can be useful from a governance standpoint. Who created dashboards, who modified a certain dashboard. Likewise, creating and modifying folders, creating and deleting schedules. So if a schedule got deleted, you may want to track who deleted that schedule. That's now possible using an audit trail report. We have started supporting managed service providers, dashboards for managed service providers in Helix Operations Management. So you can now develop dashboards in such a way that you just develop one dashboard, and there will be multiple panels in that dashboard, one for each subtenant. And your admins and your users, as the MSP operators team, will have access to the data of all their subtenants, but the users associated with each subtenant will have access only to the data of their company or their subtenant. Likewise, in ITSM, this is available for ITOM as well as ITSM. We continually deliver out-of-the-box dashboards. We've done several in the past 1 year across a vast majority of BMC Helix products. We've got a licensing dashboard on the roadmap. with which you will be able to generate dashboards for your SaaS licensing and how many of them you consume so that you can always remain in compliance with BMC Helix licensing. Several dashboards are also being developed in operations management. Usage dashboards give your admins visibility into the adoption of Helix dashboards at your company. Which dashboards are used the most, which ones the least, which users are very active, how many active schedules do you have, and so on. So you can even go down to the level of looking at which dashboards are used and which users have viewed those dashboards. You can go down to that level of granularity. I talked about license usage dashboards. So across service management and ITOM, you'll have visibility into your SaaS licensing and your compliance status. How many licenses you have purchased versus how many you have actually consumed. Localization, support for localization is important in certain countries. We already support French, German, and Spanish. Recently, we started supporting Canadian French and Canadian English as well. We have also delivered a framework for localization with which you can translate the strings for for all the keywords that you use in your dashboards, panels, and so on. And for just that dashboard, users in English will be able to view the data in English. Users in, say, Canadian French, if they set their language to Canadian French, they'll be able to view the report with all the labels translated to French. These are some useful links from other webinars. We routinely have webinars around key features of our dashboard releases. This workshop, Smart Reporting to Helix Dashboards, we ran it frequently last year. We did one every month. Going forward, we'll be doing once every quarter because we know that by now, almost all customers have migrated to Helix Dashboards. But for the benefit of some other customers who still need some help, we'll continue to have this workshop for some more time. But you can always go to BMC community and look for BMC Helix webinars, and you'll find recordings of our past webinars and workshops. With that, I come to the end of my prepared presentation here, and now we can look at questions.
I'm just going to start unmuting everyone as well, Nikhil. So the first question while I do so, Sean has put a question in saying, is it a known error is available as well? So I don't know if you want to answer his question, and I'll just see if I can find Sean.
Yes, it is. Everything in ITSM is available. We don't have a view, like in Visual Query Builder, you'll not be able to report on known errors, but you will be able to create reports based on the form or by writing SQL. You can certainly create reports on known errors.
Sean, did you want to talk to us? I don't know if you can hear us. I have given you the ability to talk. Otherwise, we'll move to the next question.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Thank you very much. So, okay, just because we can report on every other module except known error, which causes a bit of an issue for me, but that's okay. That's management's problem, not mine.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you for your question. Okay, next question comes from Kristen. Is there a smart reporting query we can execute to return the SQL query that reports are using? And Kristen, feel free to come off mute as well.
You cannot do that through a query, but because that's all stored in the dashboards metadata. You don't have access to the dashboards metadata, but I'm sure you're aware that you can, as an editor, if you're a report editor, you can open a report and have access to the SQL query therein.
Kristen, I don't know if that answers your question, if you can either reply or if you want to come off mute. Okay, we
Okay.
got a thank you. Okay, so next question is from Henk. The views made in old smart reporting, are they migrated to Grafana 1.0.1, or do we have to change them? Henk, feel free to also come off mute.
So I can answer. So they're not. Views in smart reporting are not compatible with views in Helix dashboards. We are looking at the possibility of doing this in the future, but we're not sure. At this time, we cannot commit anything on whether we'll be able to do it. Yes, so you will need to, well, we've got several views in Helix dashboards. Look at those and you can customize those as necessary.
Hank, does that answer your question? If you can either reply in the chat or the Q&A or come off mute. Nikhil, while we're waiting for potentially additional questions as well, I don't know if you want to just recap that we will be doing another session. So just to give them a call to action, we're going to be running a future session on the next version. Obviously, you and I are going to be working together to get that scheduled. So we will be sharing that.
Yes, so we do a webinar on the key features of every release. We've been doing that for the past year. We'll continue to do that. We are yet to plan the dates, but we will certainly do one for the 25.2 release, possibly towards the end of May. We'll see. We still have to schedule it, but definitely it's being planned.
And I know I was getting asked if this is getting recorded and shared. We always share all of the content. So if you do want to look at the past sessions that have been run for smart reporting, there's also some really good Q&A. So any of your questions that may not have been asked today, you might find follow-up questions that will be useful to go and look at the content back there. As Nikhil mentioned, we will be doing these on a quarterly basis, but there is enough material to go back and look at the past ones. We were doing actually a couple a month. We're now going to start focusing on Helix Dashboards content. So the next one will be the release cadence cycle one, which we're going to try to schedule for May. Once I've got that in place, I will message everyone that's joined this session just to let you know it's available to sign up. And on the thank you email, we'll actually have the Helix webinars page in communities. If you follow that page, I frequently update it every week. And if you have got a customer success manager, they should be sending you out these sessions to let you know about them. Okay, so we don't have any other questions. Oh, no, we do. I was just about to say that was it. Thank you, Hank, for your response. So James has got a question that's come in. Most of, or not all of our reports are based on customized versions of out-the-box views. If views are not able to be migrated, then we would need to be able to migrate any reports. How different are the dashboard views to the original smart reporting views? Good question. Nikhil?
Ajinkya, can you take this one?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Go
Okay,
ahead.
okay. How the different are the dashboard views from the original smart reporting views? Okay, so yeah, James. So we have some out-of-box dashboard which are created based on the smart reporting views or the similar views created in the out-of-box dashboard. And the dashboard views are also kind of similar as it was there in the out-of-box smart reporting.
Okay, so per your suggestion, obviously before we consider or before we attempt any report migrations, we'll have to go in and take the time to basically modify the dashboard views to as closely as possible match our current smart reporting customized views.
No,
I guess I-
in the migration, it will not use VQB as an option. Migration will happen on the SQL basis. Like the
Okay.
SQL from the smart reporting dashboard or smart reporting report will be migrated to Helix dashboard. But later you have to change from SQL to VQB.